I'm Yvette, 31. As I sit in my new Audi, the gentle hum of the engine fills the silence. It's been a year since that life, changing 30th birthday, and now, looking back, I can't help but reflect on how far I've come. A year ago, I was in a completely different place. It was my 30th birthday, and the rain was tapping against my window, creating a gloomy atmosphere that matched my mood. I was sitting cross-legged on my sofa, staring at a single, untouched chocolate cupcake on the coffee table. A sad, unlit candle stood in its center. No one remembered my big day. I checked my phone countless times, but there were no missed calls or texts, just my own disappointed face reflected in the blank screen. My family has always been like this. I have a sister named Lily. She's a talented ballerina, and my parents, Mr. and Mrs. Thompson, have always put her on a pedestal. My dad is a strict and practical man, always concerned about financial stability. My mom is more emotional but also tends to focus on Lily's achievements. I'm an interior designer. Last month, I completed a high-end restaurant redesign project that earned me industry recognition and a substantial bonus. But in my family, it seemed like my accomplishments didn't matter. I opened Instagram and saw Lily's latest post from her recent ballet performance. She looked radiant, and the post was flooded with likes. My mom's comment said, "Our precious star, your father and I are in awe of your grace." Dad added, "That's my girl, the best ballerina in the city." It stung, just like it had for the past 30 years. I remembered when I was 12. I was all dressed up in a pretty yellow dress my aunt had sent for my birthday, waiting for a family celebration. But Mom rushed in, saying, "Hurry, we can't be late for Lily's ballet rehearsal." I asked about my party, but my small voice was ignored. Dad just said, "We'll do something later, honey." We never did. That was when I learned to fade into the background, to expect nothing and be grateful for the little attention I got. Looking at the cupcake, I thought, what am I celebrating? Another year of being invisible. I decided enough was enough. I opened my laptop and saw my bank account balance, a result of years of saving and the recent bonus. I had the money, and I was going to use it to celebrate myself. I called a local BMW dealership. A friendly salesperson named Tom answered. I asked if they had any 3 Series models available. When I told him I wanted to buy one that day, he was shocked. But I was determined. I ended the call, stood up, and saw my reflection in the window. I hardly recognized myself. There was a newfound determination in my eyes. I grabbed my keys and wallet, leaving the sad cupcake behind. At the dealership, Tom showed me around. I immediately fell in love with a midnight blue 3 Series. I didn't even need a test drive. I told the finance manager I'd pay a large part in cash and finance the rest. She was surprised, but I didn't care. I signed the papers, and soon, the key fob was in my hand. It was mine. Back home, I took my new car to a scenic spot and took pictures. I posted one on Instagram with the caption, "Happy birthday to me. Dream car, new start." The likes and comments from my colleagues and friends started pouring in. But then my phone rang. It was Mom. "Yvette Thompson, where did you get the money for that car?" She asked, no birthday wishes, just suspicion. Dad got on the phone and asked if it was a lease. I told them it was paid mostly in cash, thanks to my successful project. There was a long silence on the other end. Then Lily texted, "Wow, didn't think you could afford this. Mom and Dad are freaking out." The family group chat exploded with messages about my extravagant purchase, but not one word about my birthday. Mom said we needed to have a family dinner to discuss this. I agreed, but I said I'd drive myself. After hanging up, I went to a late-night bakery and bought a small birthday cake for myself, with the message, "Happy birthday, Vet. From you to you." The next evening, I drove to my parents' house in my new BMW. As I parked beside Dad's old sedan, I could see them through the window, their expressions changing from judgment to surprise. I took the cake box and walked inside. At dinner, Dad started lecturing me about the financial risks of buying a car. Lily mentioned that my restaurant project must have gone well, but Dad said I should be saving for retirement. Throughout the meal, no one mentioned my birthday. After dinner, I took out the cake box and placed it in the center of the table. When I opened it, Mom's hand flew to her mouth. I said, "For 30 years, my birthdays were forgotten, while Lily's every performance was celebrated." On my 18th birthday, I got a small store-bought cake, while Lily had a huge party. And this year, not even a text. I told them about my project, how I increased the restaurant's revenue by 40% and won an industry award. I said, "This is my money, earned through my hard work. I've decided to value myself, and I don't need your approval." Dad sputtered about the expense, but I stood my ground. Mom started to cry, saying they never meant to make me feel this way. Lily also apologized, saying she never realized how much I'd been overlooked. In the following days, things started to change. Mom called to say she was proud of my work. Dad said the car suited me. Lily asked to meet me for coffee. At the coffee shop, she broke down and said she was sorry for being so wrapped up in her own life. She promised to be more aware of my feelings. A week later, my parents invited me to a family dinner. When I arrived at their house, there were balloons tied to the mailbox. Inside, the dining room was decorated and there was a big birthday cake. Dad said, "Better late than never." Lily gave me a framed photo of the restaurant I redesigned, along with a positive review from a local magazine. During the dinner, Mom said they wanted to make up for missing my birthday. I told them I didn't need makeup celebrations but respect and recognition of my achievements. Dad said they had some catching up to do. Now, a year later, on my 31st birthday, my phone started buzzing with messages. Dad texted a simple, "Happy birthday, Yvette. Hope it's great." Mom sent flowers. Lily invited me to lunch. At the design firm, my team surprised me with a party. As I sit in my BMW, driving to meet Lily for lunch, I realized that some gifts like the one I gave myself a year ago can change everything. I've learned that my worth doesn't depend on my family's recognition. It's something I've always had, and now I'm finally claiming it.